some digging out at Skinwalker Ranch. That's right, we've got to talk about episode 5 of season 5 of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. So get in here, this is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Okay, yeah, I wrote these notes as I was watching the episode last week, and I meant to make a video right after watching the episode so I could get this to you back when I remembered what my notes meant. So it'll be kind of fun to see if Jack on 2 hours of sleep can remember what his notes meant from a week ago. But let's give it a shot, guys. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, there was just so much news last week. I had to cover the breaking news, whatever it was. There's so much news. I forgot what I covered last week. Guys, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. But yeah, we've got dire wolves. We've got actual physical proof of dire wolves out at Skinwalker Ranch. We've all heard the crazy rumors of the dire wolves, the Shermans, the Gormans that moved there back in the 90s, and on their first day, a dire wolf or a giant wolf attacked one of their cattle, and they shot it with multiple guns and barely phased it, and finally it moved off and vanished. A really, really intriguing incident, and they've had, multiple people over all these years have, had various contacts with wolves or shape-changing beings. It's sometimes they'll find footprints. There's even a few visuals people have gotten. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. But in the modern era with, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, they haven't seen a lot of direwolf action, right? I want some direwolves caught on camera, guys. That'd be super cool. Well, we may have gotten that even if it's just the remains of a direwolf, which is still pretty juicy because it is an extinct species, supposedly, right? Okay, we've also got digging. Finally, some freaking digging out of that ranch. So let's go over it. All right, yeah, they bring a radar guy, Jan, with some better ground penetrating radar, and they're moving it over where they think the tunnel is, and that may or may not belong to some sort of alien structure, right? That's super cool, super juicy. I hope we find out. So going through my notes, they fire off a rocket. But the GPS, they've got to fire off a rocket. Travis has got to have his rockets, guys. Got to have his rockets. Don't read too much into that. But weirdly, as they fire off the rocket, the GPS data shows it going into the mesa. Now, this is a rocket that goes like thousands of feet in the air, but the GPS data isn't reflecting that. It's showing the rocket going into the mesa, and weirdly, it goes into the mesa at the same place the UFO exited the mesa last season. It entered the mesa on one side, like going through solid rock, and exited on the other. Is it transmedium traveling through the rock, or is there a portal? What's going on there? And why does the GPS data show the rocket going right into that same point? So weird, so weird. Well, we may have a clue what that is, because the Jan, the ground penetrating radar guy, also has radar going upwards. And right as they're firing that rocket, and they're getting that weird interference with the GPS, Jan is noticing what he calls a blip in the radar. And it's only like, I think, 40 feet off the ground. Yeah, it's 40 feet high. So, just really, really not high up at all, right? And, that's right around the same level they saw that anomaly over the triangle that destroyed a rocket, if I'm remembering right, a couple of 3 seasons ago. And he says that blip is actually a physical object, as in a UFO. So there was an invisible UFO hovering over over their heads when they were doing this experiment, and it likely caused that GPS malfunction. Isn't that crazy? What does that mean? The obviously overt interference from the phenomenon behind the secret of Skinwalker Ranch is the suggestion, right? And the UFO knew they were going to do this experiment and was there ready to counter it. It did not want them to get accurate readings. So that means that without interference, they probably could have gotten some accurate readings and maybe seen some stuff that the phenomenon did not want them to, which is really encouraging. It means that our technology is possible to, pierce the veil at least a little bit and determine some of what's going on. So I think that's very encouraging, but it's very discouraging that the phenomenon can counter it. It knows what we're going to do and it can do stuff about it. So, how do you fight that? How do you fight that? Is this a precognitive ability of the phenomenon? Or, as Lou Elizondo has suggested, maybe the phenomenon moves through time differently and experiences time differently than we do. He compared it to what he called the cherry on a cigarette, the burning end of the cigarette. He suggested that if we experience time as the burning cherry on the cigarette, maybe their cherry is wider than ours, and they have a wider, anyway. That's how he explained it. That they experience time differently. So if they can see time, before and after what we can see, they are precognitive in that way. So just a possibility, but very super freaking intriguing, guys. Yeah, so meanwhile, he does the ground penetrating radar going below, and and he detects something, and right where the tunnel was, and they actually dig. But just as they're digging, this is wild. People start experiencing this metallic taste in their mouths. One of them is one of the diggers, or the principal digger that's operating in the machinery, has this weird metallic taste in his mouth, and he's rushed off the ranch for his own safety. And then Eric goes over there, and he tastes the same metallic thing. And so he leaves. Travis and Thomas Winterton go over, and they touch the drill, and they experience a tingle up their arm. So they measure it. They bring out their instruments and they attach it to the drill to see what is going on. And it is getting a voltage. It's getting a half a volt at least, which, is not that much, but it's 10 times more than it should be. And this is, the drill going down into the ground, right where that anomaly is, right where the tunnel is, whatever is down there. That is something about it is sending up an electrical signal and making multiple people have this metallic taste in their mouth. Really weird. But unfortunately, the first person it targets is the principal digger. So they have to stop digging, at least for the day. So was that, did it deliberately target him specifically for that reason, to halt the digging? I mean, that's the implication, right? Because there were multiple crewmen that it could have gone after, but it didn't go after any of them except him. So, yeah, it didn't target all of them. It wasn't like a blanket attack. It was a very specific targeted attack, if you want to call it an attack. He didn't seem harmed, but, definitely alarming, right? Okay, so that's it as far as the digging. But then we got to get back to the direwolf. Got to get back to the direwolf, guys. Monsters at Skinwalker Ranch. Potential skinwalkers at Skinwalker Ranch. Because, that's the lore on these giant wolves is they may be able to change shape. Maybe they are the skinwalkers. There is one case where a security guard was following the giant wolf prints, and it turned into a bipedal creature. It was walking on 4 legs, and then all of a sudden, it's walking on 2 legs, guys. So, yeah, they find this weird carcass in the river, and they can't tell what it is. It looks to me like a coyote or something, but I don't know what a coyote carcass looks like. I guess I do. I live in Texas. I've seen dead coyotes, but anyway, it wasn't very big, is my point. It didn't look like a giant wolf. And it's, rotted carcass. So they take it, they get it examined, and there's some unusual characteristics about this carcass. The shape of its skull is very different from any living, canine predator. It's not a wolf. It's not a coyote. It has this big, addition to its jaw, which I think is to anchor the massive muscles that the direwolf needed to break bone with its giant jaws or whatever. And so it's not very big, so it must be a juvenile of the species, if that's what it is. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe they're wrong. It seems outlandish that they actually discovered the body of an extinct, carnivore, of a giant wolf. That's crazy if they have actually found physical proof of this stuff, right? An actual monster. I say monster. I mean, maybe it's simply an animal. Maybe it's something brought out of time by the beings. That they move through dimensions and out of our space-time continuum, as their technology seems to allow them to do, as I've talked about multiple times. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they went back in time and got themselves some dire wolves, right? I mean, why not? Why not? I'd probably get myself a dire wolf. That'd be badass, right? It'd be like Jon Snow. That'd be super cool. But is that what happened? Because there's these other stories of these shape-changing beings that are resisting bullets, that vanish. It doesn't seem to be a, strictly speaking, flesh and blood mortal being. At least those don't. But this was a dead carcass, obviously mortal. Didn't turn into a human when it died, or an alien when it died. So, what's up with that? What's up with that? As usual with the Skinwalker Ranch, we don't know what's up with that. But something's up, guys. Something's up. It was a juicy episode. As always, it raises more questions than it answers. But I feel like we're getting actual proof and we're getting good evidence of what is going on there. And we're getting some positive indications. First of all, that the phenomenon is actively preventing investigation, which seems to have been the case all along. But now we have the radar blip right above their heads when they're doing these experiments, clearly interfering at least with the GPS data of the rocket. So very intriguing. Now, why did it only mess with the GPS data? If they had other instruments aboard the rocket, which I don't know if they did, why only mess with the GPS? Or maybe it was helping them. Maybe it was sending them toward the exit point of the mesa where the U.F.O. exited the mesa, right? I mean, that's a possibility. Maybe it's saying, hey, look over there. There's something juicy over there. Maybe it's trying to aid and abet the investigation. Because if the phenomenon had never revealed itself intentionally to James Lakatsky years ago, we wouldn't know all of this stuff. We wouldn't have had these investigations into Skinwalker Ranch. It intentionally stimulated this whole thing. And without Skinwalker Ranch and the investigations into Skinwalker Ranch, we wouldn't have Allstaff, we wouldn't have A-Tip, we wouldn't have Lou Elizondo, we wouldn't have David Grush, and we wouldn't have the Nazca mummies. Or at least the Nazca mummies would not have been presented at the Mexican UFO Congress, as I reported on the other day. We are living in the age of disclosure, and it all started because the phenomenon actively intentionally revealed itself exclusively to James Lakatsky. Nobody else saw it at that time. It chose him to reveal itself, and if it is experiencing time differently than we do, it may have seen the outcome of that. So you never know, guys. You never know. I don't know what's going on there, but it's mysterious and it's amazing. So let me know if you checked out that episode or any of the show, or what you think of Skinwalker Ranch in general. And let me know what you think about this episode. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.